Annie's kind of like my first real girlfriend.
Buddy.
I've had a few women that I've donated sperm to that have caught feelings for me, but I haven't really returned the favor. But with Annie, it's different. I feel this deep connection with her, and she's smart, she's caring, we both want to have more kids.
All right. Let's just go back to what he said at the very beginning here. So here he talks about how Annie's kind of his first real girlfriend. So then that tells us that he has had a life of where he has never had a long-term experience with a woman. He's never had a long-term experience of what it's like to be in a relationship. So that means he has lived life for God knows how long on his own terms, his own rules. And, you know, generally speaking, when people live a life on their own terms, their own rules, it means, generally speaking, that these are people that are only going to mostly think of themselves. They're not necessarily going to think of other people. Why? Because they're not used to thinking of other people. They're only used to thinking of themselves. So the question is, though, is he going to be able to adapt to the responsibility, or at least to what it means to be in a relationship, or to at least attempt to be in a relationship? That is something I guess we'll find out throughout this video, because there's certain signs that I picked up that tells me no. But also at the same time, though, let's also move on to the fact that he talks about, you know, he's had an experience in the past where he has donated his sperm, but then there's been situations where women have caught feelings, but he hasn't necessarily felt them back. And that is something that he has definitely spoken about publicly anyway. Okay. But for some bizarre reason, Annie just happens to be different. Why Annie's different? Well, according to him, it's because he has a deep connection with her. Interesting. Deep connection with Annie. Now, here's the thing. From my experiences, generally speaking, when you have a deep connection with somebody, or at least you start to begin to have one, it means that you're in a position where you are now starting to potentially wanting to sacrifice certain things about your life, and you are now willing to think of somebody else, okay? And you are not going to necessarily just think of yourself only. The question is, though, is he able to put himself in a position where he can actually start to think about Annie, and also think about Annie's daughter as well? Let's not forget that. I think it's a daughter, right? Well, let's say Annie's child, just to be careful. But let's continue, because there's a lot of things to break down here based on obviously what is displayed in terms of what he says, and also what is displayed on the show itself in particular.
Smart, she's caring, we both want to have more kids, and I really want this relationship to work. Hey.
Oh my God. Oh my. This is disrespectful. It's, I think, the same he arrived on the airport.
So here's the thing. He's now arrived. Okay, he's now arrived on this meal, on their first date, wearing shorts, which isn't always necessarily a big deal depending on what type of shorts you wear. But as Annie has said here, that he's pretty much wearing the same thing that he wore when he landed, which is never a good look. You know, at first when I saw this clip and, you know, I saw this episode, I sat there and I said to myself, why would he turn up? Why would he turn up dressed this way? Like, why is he not looking to want to make an impression? I mean, he's already spoken about how Annie's different. He's got a deeper connection with her, you know? So therefore you think that he's in a position where he's going to want to dress to impress, or dress to please, or just dress to be respectful, you know? But instead, as Annie says, he dresses in a way that made her feel disrespected. So again, it makes me wonder, but why would he do this though? Because you see, this is a man that clearly when he does what he does it because he's being tactical. And I say that because in the first episode, he's already talking about how she has to earn points for cuddles, kisses, and even the last base, shall I say. But why would you do that? And usually speaking, somebody that comes in is already dictating how things are going to go is usually someone that has controlling habits. I mean, listen, some people may even call it narcissistic traits, narcissistic behavior, which got me thinking, but let's play some more.
Didn't even change for the restaurant.
But we don't do that in America. We do whatever.
If you love me, you do it for me then, though.
I'm not gonna lie to you, it blew my mind when she said, if you love me. That really blew my mind, but now I'm like, hold on a minute. What's going on with this storyline? Now, here's the thing. Sometimes when it comes to TLC and their shows or Sharp Entertainment, their storyline sometimes can definitely be inconsistent, with one thing being said one time and another thing being said another time. So really and truly, I want us to also pay attention to the fact that she speaks about how, oh, if you love me, this, because that made no sense out of nowhere. If anything, the line should have been more like, listen, you know, if you're into me and you want to make things work, I would at least appreciate you to make an effort rather than use the word love, which does make me think why that happened that way. But here's the thing though, we're going to continue. Let's just go back and look a bit here and we'll continue.
We don't do that in America. We do whatever.
If you love me, you do it for me then, though.
When it comes to dressing up, Americans are just more chill. Whereas Europeans, I feel like, grew up in the olden times, right? Because America's kind of a newer country. Everyone dressed up. They wore their little wigs. They wear their little gowns. And
I mean, listen, is there truth behind Europeans always wanting to dress to impress? Not even that, just wanting to dress just to, you know, be fashionable, 1000%. You know, there's a reason why Fashion Week is in Paris, you know? Whenever I've been to Italy, people always dress in a way. I mean, most of the time, they're always dressing in some type of suit wear, you know what I mean? Always want to dress clean, dress in a way that is sophisticated, okay? And that is obviously I've seen that, of course, like I said before, in Italy. I haven't necessarily seen it in other countries. And I've seen it in different countries in Europe where they definitely like to dress to look the part, generally speaking. But to say that in America, they like to be more relaxed, that is true. In the UK, we like to be relaxed too. But at the same time, though, we also know how to be what? Respectful. In American, they obviously you do know this. And I say this because you see, if you go onto a social media platform right now, TikTok, Instagram, whatever you want to call it, you go to it right now, okay? You're going to see people making rules together, couples from the States, going on dates, and every single one is doing what? Dressing, not even to impress, but dressing for the occasion. Dressing because they want to make sure the person knows that they made effort for them. Effort being the key word. So here's the thing though. What the hell is he talking about? Americans, this and that. I'm pretty sure Americans are sitting there right now saying, we don't claim what he says. In fact, we don't want to claim him at all. But again, though, I don't know why he decided to use that as a reason, because that reason itself is absolutely crazy to me. But again, though, why did he dress up this way? You see, it's because for me personally, I believe that he's trying to play a power of dominance. He's trying to basically say that, hey, I can dress how I want to dress and do what I want to do, because I'm in charge. Why do I say that? Well, first and foremost, last episode, what did I say? In the last episode, he was coming in by telling her about the pointing system of how she can get a kiss, a cuddle, and even sex itself. Let's continue some more.
I think the expectation is that they should dress up.
I'm already thinking how I'm going to find a way out of this mess.
Now, in this episode, he also does start to eat like a freaking crazy person. Like, man was like, and he was like, why is he eating like that? I'm thinking, why is he eating like that? This guy was literally showing energy of like, I just don't care about what you think. I only care about the fact that you're going to accept me for the way I am and accept everything that I say and do. Because otherwise, why would you dress up in one way? You know, why are you going to eat like that? But here's the thing though, I want you to highlight what Annie said. Annie said that, hey, right now I'm thinking of ways to get away. That's something else that we also have to highlight, because like I said before, there were two things that I noticed in this video, and inconsistent in things that are said by Annie herself, as well as mostly what she said here, but also at the same time, the narcissistic traits that I've identified within his behavior. But hey, we're not finished. We continue.
You gonna miss me?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit?
Just a tiny bit. Really high expectations of our first date, and he didn't meet any of them.
You're gonna look sexy tomorrow.
Yeah. He looked like a slop. He has no manners.
Have a ponytail.
Ponytail?
I like ponytails.
I'm curious, did you notice what I noticed? We're going to go back now, and I want to see if you notice what I noticed, but I'm going to tell you exactly what I noticed. Okay, now, first and foremost,
This mess.
You gonna miss me?
Yeah, maybe.
the holding of the hands. Why is he doing that? I mean, to be honest, if you listen, anytime somebody holds your hand and starts swinging it around and you're not really feeling the vibe, like, that is an uncomfortable thing to do. Why is he doing that? I mean, for me personally, if you ask me, Annie did look somewhat uncomfortable with the fact that he was holding her hands and doing this. I don't want to say that she was uncomfortable with the fact that he wouldn't let go, but that I can't necessarily clarify, even though everything that I'm saying in this video is all based on my own opinion of what I'm seeing on screen. But I can say that it's definitely, you know, something that's just not nice to do, right? But here's the thing. So let's talk about the body language. Holding the hands like this. There's no need for that. Moving around. There's no need for that. But pay attention to what he says. What he says is key.
A little bit.
Maybe a little bit?
Just a tiny bit. Really high expectations of our first date.
I will say this though, please. Nobody should ever have high expectations. No, nobody should ever have expectations in general when you go on dates or anything. Like, trust me when I tell you, expectations are the route to disappointment. Always do everything in this life thinking hopefully it's going to go well. But let's talk about this though, expectations. Annie had expectations to turn up and for him to have a nice little date and for him to dress to impress, right? He had an expectation that was different. His expectation was, I'm not going to have any expectations. I'm just going to turn up and just be this and see how she reacts. See if there's something that's going to put her off or something that's going to still keep her tuned into me. again, seeing where he can control the narrative with her. Okay, that is the most key thing here. So in this date here, she walks away a bit, he walked away happy as Larry. Why? Because he was able to go there and say, listen, I can turn up, dress how I dress, eat how I want to eat. And also on top of that, dictate what's going to happen. Pay attention.
And he didn't meet any of them.
You're gonna look sexy tomorrow.
Yeah. He looked like a slob. He has no manners.
Have a ponytail.
Ponytail.
I like ponytails.
Still have the...
You recognize how he's already telling her how he wants her to be the next day. I want you to look this way. And I also want you to have this hairstyle. You see that, right? Just putting those things in there in a very, very slick, sly way. Now, I'm pretty sure there's many people in this world that have been in relationships where, you know, you've experienced someone that is controlling, maybe even experienced someone that is narcissistic. Does anybody see any traits here that are quite similar to what you have either experienced or witnessed? Because right now, based on how his character is being portrayed on the show, that's exactly how it is looking. Now, of course, Annie does make it abundantly clear that she feels like he came there looking like a slob with no manners, X, Y, Z. And that's for a reason. Everything he's doing is for a reason. You couldn't tell me otherwise, based on my opinion of what I have seen.
Still have these underlying strong feelings. And I don't know what it is.
So I'm gonna hug.
This is the thing that I find quite interesting. A second ago, she said that I'm trying to find a way to get away from him. Not to get away from him, but to, you know, just call it quits or whatever, right? Next minute, she's talking about, but I'm still attracted to him. Why is there inconsistency? We went from love to no, I actually want to get away from him, to now, I still want to know him. Like, what's going on? Which tells me one thing. We know that sometimes when it comes to this show, some of these couples, okay, some of their storylines or can definitely have elements of fake. But also we know that sometimes even on the show that some couples aren't even real couples. And we know this because on the most recent season of The Single Life now, we saw that with Debbie, as you saw obviously in this channel, that it was revealed that Debbie had actually recruited Ruben to be on the show with her. Ruben was never actually somebody she actually was actually intimate with or had any love whatsoever. She literally asked him to come on the show and to convince the producers that they were actually in a relationship. That was the shiz. So we know that people do come on these sometimes and they do fake a relationship. And these are the signs that we have to look for. And right now, based on the fact that Annie's quite inconsistent with what she's saying, it makes me wonder, why is she here? Is she really in this relationship or what? What's going on here? So we have to always take into account the things that we've experienced before on the show, okay, and the signs that we've always seen before. And some of these signs are quite repetitive. And this is one of those repetitive signs where patterns don't make sense. But the pattern that we can definitely say makes sense is the pattern that we have recognized of him. Pay attention to what happens next. Dictating everything that they do.
So I'm gonna hug you.
All right.
And
I
then,
see you.
oh my God.
Kyle is a little bit of mystery. And
Now listen, I'm going to sit and say to you that there's anything wrong, anything bad with dictating, obviously, you know, what's going to happen here, what's going to happen there. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that because listen, in this world, you know, doing that is something that can be healthy. But then doing that can also be unhealthy. The question is though, how he's going about things, is it healthy or is it unhealthy? That's something that I would love for you all to let me know in the comments section based on what you've seen along with myself here, based on all the opinions that I've shown you, based on what I've seen on the show. Let me know what you're thinking. Do you think that the signs of him controlling everything or at least showing these signs of potential narcissistic behavior are in a good or in a bad, healthy, unhealthy? Let me know what you're thinking. But with that being said though, don't forget to like, subscribe. Oh. By the way, see these subtitles, right? I didn't put these subtitles on purpose. Just want to clarify that. The video that I got today for the show just happened to have subtitles. So please don't expect these every week because it wasn't on purpose. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.